exploring every land, no map, no reverse. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck.
Because, you know, Oh no, can you hear me? Oh, for fudge sakes, I was so busy looking for I must have hit the mute button. Oh, well, thank you. I hope that wasn't too long. It's a 2-minute. So it wasn't too long, like 3 minutes, 2.5. Boy, oh boy, it's been a day. Yeah. Hi guys, how you doing? I was talking about how this morning instead of I was doing something I haven't done in a long time. I was listening to my buddy Nick. Um, he's covering another court case. He's a union law rep in Sweden, but he covers a lot of American stuff, and he's been covering the YSL trials. He's covered the shoot, I'm blanking. The Delphi murders. Um, Covers all sorts of really great stuff. And I've stayed away from LawTube for a while. For many reasons. Mostly I only watch cases. I tend to get into cases if more uh they're more important. Like I don't just watch any old um case. I loved following Rittenhouse from start to finish because it really was a challenge on your Second Amendment. And if it had gone the other way, um, things could have been really, really different for you guys and your guns. So thankfully, it went the way it did. But that's why I followed that one. I followed oh, what's his name now? Johnny Depp. I followed Johnny Depp because, well, one, he was one of my Johnny Depp. Holy Hannah, that's the name I've been trying to find for the last few days to make a point to someone. And it just came to me. I gotta write it here so I won't forget. Ironic. Ironic, is it? Jeez Louise. Anyways, I followed the Johnny Depp case because it was really interesting. The Me Too movement had really caused some major problems, I thought, in your criminal I don't know, in your yeah, I don't know. I'm losing my words. But basically, it had gone quite far, and in some instances too far, in some instances not far enough. But I was fairly certain right from the get go that Johnny Depp was actually an abused husband, as opposed to being the abusing husband. So I wanted to see how it would go in a world of Me Too, where believe all women all the time, no matter what, was kind of the rule of thumb. And so again, I wanted to see just, how far was this woke stuff going to get? And thankfully, again, it didn't go that far. Johnny was vindicated. It worked out well. But those are usually the cases that I really like to follow. There's something really interesting, like the head in a bucket. Like that's just the visceral me, the horror movie lover in me. I had to follow that one. Not to mention Jeff. Jeff made that. He made a lot of things fun. He made a lot of cases fun. So yeah, I had not really found anything that was very interesting to me. And like I said, while I was muted, so none of you guys heard, I decided to turn on and listen to Nick this morning. I don't really know what's going on in the case. I don't know a whole lot. I think allegedly the dude was in the back seat of a car and the guy in the front passenger turned around and started waving a gun. So the dude in the back seat got out. And then at some point following, I'm not sure in what order, I'm confused on that. He hopped on the hood of someone else's car, either standing or on all fours. He was shot perhaps multiple times, and he ended up dead on the pavement in the drive-through of a Chick-fil-A with a bag of marijuana beside him and a piece of marijuana in his mouth. That's That's really all I know about the case. That's really it. But it was quite entertaining. It was nice to get up to and get ready to eat my breakfast and, just kind of get into the day listening to a court case. It's really quite um, soothing, the cadence of a courtroom. But anyways, that being said, I was enjoying watching it so much that I nearly forgot to come over here and hit start, which is why I forgot to check and see if it was on mute or not. Anyways, hello everyone. I'll say hi to everyone who's here. Hello, Bowls Deep. MSO, good to see you. And Poignant Pachyderm, good to see you too. Thanks for you two for letting me know there was no sound. There's me dropping Nick's link. That's his YouTube. For all your trial jonesing, you can head over to him. Good. Now you can hear me. Poignant Pachyderm's laughing at me. Fair enough. No fucks given. Good to see ya. Saying good evening. I'm saying good morning. Doing pretty good. Yeah, you tariffed the audio, says says MSO. Yeah, you're not wrong. Hello, Squabby. How you doing? I was not a depth stalker, but he was most definitely he was the heartthrobs of my youth, for sure. Yeah, Edward Scissorhands was pretty good. Oh, do I? I always wished I looked more like Winona Ryder. Well, no, that's not true. But I always wished I could have been one of those wafy kind of, because I'm built like a footballer or something. I'm built like a good country girl is built. I'm sturdy. So I never really felt like there was much representation for my my style or my shape rather. But yeah, I styled myself. I dressed a lot like Winona Ryder, that hippie skater chick. Um the grunge skater. But well, that's not true. I did steal. I was a dumb kid. And I did try some shoplifting and I got busted. Um I got busted big time and learned my lesson and never did it again ever. Um but yeah, I'm not a kleptomaniac like Winona Ryder is. Hello, Bishop. How you doing? Yes, no fucks given. I really enjoyed it. You do great music mashups. Here we go. No fucks given on Rumble. He is a UK friend. He does music, but more importantly, Wednesday is Mashup Wednesday, and he did some of the coolest mashups I've heard in a very long time. I had a lot of fun. It was neighbor dinner last night. A few of us try to get together and grab a dinner every few weeks or so. So it was neighbor dinner, but I had it playing the entire time, so we were all grooving out to your tunes. It was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for inviting me. Poignant Pachyderm, Bangers and Mash. I had a girlfriend whose parents were both from England. They came in as adults, young adults. They came to Canada, so they knew how to cook. And I've had authentic bangers and mash. It's awesome. I don't know why people say that British food is so bland. It's really not. It's very very tasty. You just need to know how to do it right, I guess. Anyways, that's enough of me blabbing along. I've said hi to everyone. We are continuing on Prepare. There you go. It's the reflective metallic finish. Doesn't like to pick up necessarily. But Prepare, the Handbook for Individual Freedom. This is a first edition signed copy. Steve was kind enough to email me a third edition. So this is the latest edition. It includes the automatic hydroponic system in it, which is great. It's supposedly foolproof. You set it up and you walk away. So even brown and black thumbs can make it work. So I've got kind of I would say a lemon yellow to starting towards lime green thumb. I can grow some stuff really well, other stuff not so much. Um, my apartment, I think, is cursed. Anything living, anything plant that I have brought in to this environment dies, except for a jade plant, and I've got an African violet that's living with the jade plant, and they like each other. So they seem to be okay. They're helping each other survive in this cursed land. But like we were talking about last week on the reading stream, I've always wanted to turn that empty wall behind me into like a living wall. Um, but I don't know how to do it because there's a flight of stairs that goes down an entire story in less than the width of the it's they're very steep, they're uneven, it's not the safest thing in the world. So I didn't know how to get anything up on the wall. No Fucks Given came in and had a brilliant idea. Instead of trying to put it up on the wall, if I build it up and over the railing on this side of the stairwell, you can see it behind me. It's just behind the, let's point here, it's just behind the couch is a railing. I've got a floor carpet covering it to keep the heat in and the cold in. It's a whole thing. Works like a hot dam. But No Fucks said, why don't you build it off of the railing there, which is brilliant. It also gives the living wall breathing on both sides. I really think it's going to work. So as soon as we get through the automatic gardening bit, as long as it's potentially able to fit within, like a trough. Where's the camera? A trough worth of space. Like I'd say probably about that much, but all the way along. I'm in. I think it would be a great project. I think the cats would love it. The air would appreciate it, especially now that I'm streaming on the beautiful sunshiny days. I can't open the windows when I'm streaming because I get even whiter than I already am. And I start to glow. So it would be nice to have something like that in the apartment year round. I think it would be great. So again, thank you for that wicked idea. And yeah, anyone who wants good tunes. Well, yeah, you can just, does it work? No, because you guys are on YouTube, right? So I've got to be able to do for you guys. Let's see. Oh, wake up the keyboard. There, check him out on Rumble. Rumble only. No Fucks Given. Or great. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Off, okay. Music and mash up stays. There we go. So there you YouTubers get to see stuff. If you're on Rumble, you can click on their avatar. Quick and easy, but please go give them a follow over on Rumble. It's a follow. I know he'd really appreciate that, but more importantly, check out his live streams because they're a lot of fun. And like I said, last night there was mashups with songs I never would have thought of doing, but they worked so well. It was very entertaining. So on that note, we will get back. I'll be reading off the PC because I'm reading the third edition, which was emailed to me. Here we go. So we'd just covered, let me roll up here. Yes, we were talking about the needs from the pyramid. Air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, sex, sleep. That's the physiological needs. So we were covering the physiological needs, water purification, home, uh, last little bit about clothing. Yeah, leaving that aside, humans must wear clothing to keep warm and protect their skin from the elements. Soldiers will tell you that successful infantry operations depend on good boots and protective clothing. And I've been told that as well. I'm a hiker, or I was a hiker before I was unable to do it anymore. Um, but yeah, a good pair of boots, multiple pairs of socks, because you want to keep your feet dry, and some really good sturdy. I hiked in denim. You know, I was not a professional by any means. I was a kid and a young adult. Um, when I camped and when I was hiking into the bush to like survive for a week or two, kind of camping, yeah, I wore denim. Nice, good, heavy denim protects your legs, keeps the insects, the ticks and stuff at bay. A really good pair of boots. I swore by hiking in my Doc Martens. I know most people would go, really? But that's what they were made for originally. They were making boots for the soldiers, and I relied on my Doc Martens fully. I loved my 14 holes, but I had some 16 and 18 holes that were more for fun. But a good 14 hole pair of Doc Martens was my best piece of foot protection. Um, Not so much anymore. The last time I had to replace a pair, the leather on the new pair is a third as thick as the my old pair. It's interesting. You can see and feel the difference in the thickness of the leather from the older um, pair to this newer pair. They're definitely not the Doc Martin brand that they used to be. I'm sorry to say, because they charge you just as much. But for me, yeah, good pair of jeans, long sleeve shirt, great pair of boots, and multiple pairs of socks. That's your big thing for surviving outdoors long term. And now we get into it. Safety needs. Once an individual's basic physiological needs are met, they will seek to feel safe and secure. This includes the need for personal security, financial security, and health and well being. Preppers focus very strongly on these concerns. The fear of violence is genuine in each one of us. Every person seeks protection from personal harm. We strive to avoid accidents. We steer clear of natural disasters. The term safety in the modern day often suggests self defense. Firearms are a big part of this element of individual safety, as well as more non lethal products such as chemical sprays and electrical stunners. However, alarm systems, secure doors and windows, and police response must also be included in the consideration. To secure a safe bubble around ourselves, we seek financial safety. We work hard and progress up the corporate ladder to have the resources and stability necessary to meet basic needs and provide for oneself and one's family. Leveraging our income and wealth protects our family from catastrophe. Many worship nature, believing Mother Earth wants to embrace us in loving arms. Don't buy into this wealth created delusion. In reality, nature is trying every day to kill us. Safety can also include health and medical safety. Access to modern drugs allows us to live long and healthy lives. A simple blood pressure medication dramatically extends the life of people with hypertension. Modern insulin offers a fulfilling life to someone who, in past centuries, would not survive long term. Medical safety is represented by the incredible healthcare networks and hospitals dotting the American landscape. Being close to emergency healthcare gives us security by alleviating the fear of accidental death. Americans almost take for granted the miracles of modern medicine. But as recent as last century, minor injuries could turn into life changing or life ending events. Superficial infections could kill. Some would include emotional safety in the safety tier. That means an individual wishes to feel safe and secure in relationships. We desire to express our emotions without fear of rejection or judgment. But I would categorize that more at the next level up the pyramid. I have bison leather hiking boots. Docs for hiking. I know everyone says that, but I'm not able to do that hiking anymore. When I'm talking about my time hiking in the bush and living in the bush for weeks or months at a time, which I did. Um, I was young, I was dumb. I was not full of cum. But, I did an awful lot. I lived in the bush and would hike out and go and work an 8-hour shift at the Wendy's and then hike back into the bush to continue living there. It just for the fun of it. I had a home that I could but me and my friends, we lived as soon as we graduated, we lived on a string of 3 islands in the middle of Coquitlam River, and we lived there for a few months. It was brilliant, it was eye-opening. There was a lot of LSD involved, LSD and marijuana and a little bit of booze. Um, but it was a wonderful time. And I always wore my Docs because the leather was nice and thick, strong enough to support your ankle, help stop it from turning. The base of the sole of the boot, and the grip was brilliant. I mean, I could be hiking in the bush in I lived in a rainforest, so it was always wet and damp. There's always slippy slippy slidey bits. But I had great grip on no matter what I was walking on. Um they were great if I accidentally did end up getting them wet. They dry out fairly quickly. It was they were great boots. Not anymore. The pair that I bought few years back, maybe 2, 3 years ago. Um, no way would I rely on them to go hiking in the bush. No way at all. They are not the same Doc Martens as they were when I was doing it, which would have been mid to late 90s. Yeah, about mid 90s through 2010. I think the last time I did any real, living in the bush sort of thing, I was probably yeah, probably just before I got married, which was 2012, was the last time I really did actual hiking. Then I got married, then I got really sick, and that's a whole nother story. Now I'm here. But yeah, at one point back in the day, those Docs, man, I loved them. They were better than anything my friends were wearing. It's no Baja concerts in the wild. No, I don't know what owlsy juice is. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll look it up afterwards. Here, I'll start so I know what it is. I know to go back. All right. So, love and belonging needs. After meeting their safety needs, individuals will seek to form close relationships and feel a sense of belonging. This includes the need for love, friendship, and intimacy. From this point onward, the particulars can vary greatly between individuals, but we can generalize to say that basic human belongingness and love needs are necessary for humans to feel connected and supported by others. Love is quite a concept. In differing situations, the meaning of this word can change radically. The English language fails to capture the nuances of human expressions of social connection, so it is wise to break out what we mean by the all encompassing statement that we need to feel loved and cared for by others. The primary foundational relationship we all hope to form and nurture is family. We each need to feel connected to and supported by family members, especially our mother and father. Much societal chaos can be tied to parenting absence and failures. The long term family core of the father mother bond generates children. Okay, I hear you, Flux. Don't revoke my honorary lesbian badge just yet. The fact is that somewhere along the line, a man and a woman need to get together to produce children. This is separate from the need for intimacy and sex. It's upon this human need to develop close, affectionate relationships with romantic or sexual partners from which the family grows. Close, supportive friends add to our substance as individuals. While we cannot pick our parents, our friends provide an intimate circle where we can share experiences and explore our ideas in safety. Personally, I greatly value my friends and am blessed with more than one person could ever expect in a lifetime. This does not mean that the circle is not widening. My recent experiences and interests have expanded that friendship circle to my unexpected gratitude. But it is sometimes hard to distinguish true friends from acquaintances or those who simply seek to use the relationship. Jordan Peterson provided a great definitional rule of thumb to determine if a person is a friend. A friend is a person who is happy for you when you succeed and sad with you when you fail. This insight has greatly clarified my day to day life. Adding to that, friends are people that you admire and who admire you. Those qualities in others that you admire either compliment you or drive you to be better. Mutual admiration combined with good hearted empathy are the keys to friendship. We often hear about a best friend. Be careful with this term. It can severely impact your relationships. Are your non best friends your second best friends? Do not expect everything from any one person. As I grow older, I find that each friend provides a different perspective as my friend circle grows. My late friend Mac was an outgoing social man who was a joy to be around, but he was just wholly unreliable and undependable. I'd call him on the phone and he would answer in a silly drawl, "My good friend." He had a great way of constantly turning the conversation back to you, and he would give you the vibe that your opinion is all he cared about and that you were super special. He'd drop into the conversation, "We need to go shooting again soon." Me being me, I'd say, "How about next Friday?" And he would weasel around and agree. I would dutifully put the date in my schedule, but Friday would roll around and no Mac. He would call back the next week and just be so apologetic, and he would have some excuse. Aside from this flaw, I just loved being around the guy. But Mac taught me that I had to do so on his terms if I wanted to be his friend. He brought me joy, and I am blessed to have known him. Just as Peterson's definition can help us sort through who our friends are, it is also a helpful guidepost to direct us in how to be better friends ourselves. This may require you to be brutally honest with yourself about your feelings. Somewhere deep down, you may envy your friend's material success. "I should have such a nice house," or "Why does he make more than me?" If suppressed, these thoughts can bring you down and lead to betrayal. Not a good place to be, eh, Dante? Jealousy resides within each of us. The trick is to bring that jealousy to conscious state. Do not lie to yourself that such negative emotions are not part of your being. They are somewhere. Try to be conscious of that human flaw and choose against it. My buddy Ryan B., to his eternal credit, once came to me and said, "I must confess to you that I am a slight bit jealous. You've done so much, writing articles and being on webcasts, and on top of that, you always seem happy. But I want to put that aside and learn from you." It took a great deal of trust in the relationship to make that statement to me, and I was honored by his directness, honesty, and good faith. Since that time, we have become true friends. His perceived inadequacies simply resulted from youth. He is much younger than me. When viewed on the timeline of life, he is ahead of me at the same point, and it's a gift to me to mentor him as he grows. I want him to be the best possible person he can be, and for that person to call me a friend. Do not compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you could become tomorrow. Friends also help you grow as a person. Robert A. Johnson, in his book Inner Gold Understanding Psychological Projection, describes how projection is a growth mechanism. When we admire another, we place on them an ideal that we value. This may be completely disconnected from the person we admire, but we recognize something in the other that we wish to be ourselves. My wife and I were discussing how many kinds of folks have emailed me recently regarding my social media appearances, and I truly am humbled by the kindness. But what is happening is not that I am such a great guy. What is happening is that people are seeing in me something within themselves that they value and wish to become. The proper response to such flattery is to hold up a mirror to their perception. Encourage the person to be better than they are. Shine the light back at them. Through this process, people can act in accordance with their ideals, thus improving themselves over time. Choose your friends carefully because our friends, in this way, become a part of us. Friends should call upon us to be better. One of the most amazing people I have ever met was Derek L. Brooks. Derek, not Daryl. Don't worry, guys. That was another case. I wouldn't have made it through if it weren't for Vices. Vices and Ozzy. That was quite the case. There wasn't really any worldly, pivotal law being judged upon for that one, but yeah, that one I had to watch. I saw what he did, and so I knew I had to watch his case. And it was entertaining and I learned a lot, and it was also one of the hardest cases I've ever watched. But yeah. Thank you, Vices. But anyways, that was a tangent. Steve here is talking about his friend Derek L. Brooks, not Daryl. So much so that my friend Chris and I sometimes discussed how accurate our haloed projection of him was. Now that he has passed, it's hard to sort out the image from the man. We call this phenomenon Saint Derek. Anyways, one time I was talking with Derek. My foul mouth dropped in the conversation, a few curse words and a bit of lowbrow expression. Derek winced and said, "Steve, you can do better than that." Derek, you are right. I will try harder, my friend. We can form social connections with social groups and communities on a wider scale. Even in the case of extreme introverts, somewhere deep down, we wish to be appreciated by the wider populace. The ability of human beings to collaborate to solve common tasks and problems is quite remarkable. One does not have to be a friend to have a mutual interest. Be careful not to confuse common interests with friendship. Even I must admit, an extreme introvert, that part of the motivation and energy it takes to write this book for you came directly from all the kindness and praise that flowed my way in the internet chat forums. Hello, Nuclear. How you doing, hon? Loved and cared for by others. You're not fucked. We all love and care for you, hon. We know you. We got you. I haven't been hanging out in Mighties like I used to, but we're still here. We got you. I love you, man. I really do. Don't you worry. We've got you. Esteem needs. Once individuals have fulfilled their belongingness and love needs, they will seek to rebuild self esteem and feel accomplished. This includes the need for self esteem, confidence, and respect from others. Status and standing within our chosen the social group or community can be powerful incentive and it can be a powerful incentive and step in developing self-esteem and self-worth. Feel confident in your abilities. Do not let an excuse keep you from doing what is right. When I served as a prosecutor in juvenile court, one message came through loud and clear. Giving a child an excuse to fail is a terrible hindrance to their future. Often, this would take the shape of a single mother, tired and worn down by her teenage boy, guilted into submission by the child for not having a father in the home. It is rational that a single mother should fret about her child this way. Fatherlessness dramatically increases the chance of delinquency, drug use, and all sorts of pathologies. Thus, this excuse would resonate with any mom who feels guilty about the situation. But beware of backing off from discipline or guidance based on this card. A child may get their way in the short term, but this child is simply damaging themselves. I would see these kids, armed with their get out of jail free card from their mom, fail into the juvenile criminal justice system. Even at that level, they would be treated lightly. These kids thought they had the whole system gamed. Soon we would see freshly minted 18-year-olds facing serious adult felony charges. The fatherlessness card had no value in adult court. You could see the genuine shock on their young faces as the judge handed down multi-year sentences. The worst thing you can do for a child is give them an excuse to fail. We all need to feel respected and valued by others. One of the greatest gifts I've recently experienced in all of the kind emails of support from people around the globe commenting on my first book. This is a tremendous reward. People should be recognized and appreciated for their achievements and contributions. I make a conscious effort to look for good actions in others. When people do good things around you, praise them. It costs you nothing and may have brightened that person's life. An interesting fact is that older people are happier. People in their 20s and 30s report having the highest levels of depression, anxiety, and stress, plus the lowest levels of happiness, satisfaction, and well-being. Say hello to the camera. This is my sweetheart. This is my sweets. And she's walking across my kitchen table like it's no big deal, because they both do. And I allow it because I'm wrapped around their little fingers. Honestly, that's about it. I've given up trying to stop them from doing it. An interesting fact is that older people are happier. People in their 20s and 30s report having the highest levels of depression, anxiety, and stress, plus the lowest levels of happiness, satisfaction, and well-being. Conversely, older people were the happiest. One explanation may be that in a lot of older people, the little things are seen from a broader perspective. When you are a child, the slightest bit of unhappiness is amplified to outsized importance as your life is short and the event is more significant in context. But another explanation may be that as we get older, we learn to avoid things that give us pain and do more things that provide us fulfillment. The second explanation is empowering. Gaining independence means learning how to provide for ourselves. It means creating new families to propagate love into the world. As we grow into adulthood, we must care for ourselves and make our own decisions. My wonderful mom termed this giving your child wings. The last great gift a parent can teach their child. If the love and upbringing were good, the child occasionally returned to you with love. But the fact of a child's existence brightens our days. Self-actualization needs. This is the highest level of Maslow's hierarchy, which refers to reaching one's full potential and becoming the best version of oneself. This includes the need for personal growth, self-fulfillment, and self-actualization. Decide now to make the overall direction of your life positive. If your personal growth has stagnated, look for ways to improve yourself. You know what those things are. What's the excuse stopping you? Be conscious of your inner excuses. Do not lie to yourself. Overcome those internal objections. Easier said than done. I will, see, don't lie to yourself and be conscious of your inner excuses. I will quit smoking. I will quit smoking because I don't need to smoke. See, it's very hard to do, but when you can catch yourself and fix it, do so. It does help. I will get there. I'll prove it. I'll show you guys. I will be a non-smoker. It's tough, but I will do it. Engage in creative activities that allow you to use your imagination and skills. I love playing bass and guitar. You may find the outlet in painting, riding a motorcycle, or building Lego sets. What is your creative outlet? Find something that makes you happy and make time to develop that creative skill. Creativity frees your mind from formality and process, allowing you to think outside the box. In my first year of law school, I became a study partner and close friend of the amazingly driven Jiyoung Yang. Our contracts professor, Calvin A. Quenzel, was quite the character. Envision the fictional Professor Kingsfield, played by John Houseman in the movie The Paper Chase. That was him, a strict Socratic questioner. He never made a positive statement the entire first year. Every sentence was in the form of a question. I do not know South Korean culture well, but Ji Young's study habits were extraordinary. She studied day and night, which, by the way, made her a great study partner. For every question posed by the professor, her stress level went up. After about 2 weeks of unanswered questions, she went, head bowed, into the professor's office to ask for help. With a cigar in one hand and a glass of unknown content in the other, he stared into space and said, "Go out into a field and look up at the stars." What I would have paid to witness my wound-up friend Gion's reaction. The professor's point, I believe, was that the unconscious mind works behind the scenes. Just like the heart pumps and the liver filters, the brain sets out its task of thinking. This can take the form of conscious thought or unconscious revelation. The brain occasionally spits a little in hindsight or spits a little insight or idea into the conscious mind. This is intuition. Listen to these insights. I rely on them. I keep little sticky notes handy wherever I go. I even have a waterproof notepad in my shower. Hey, I do my best thinking in the shower. Oh no, if you guys. Oh man. If you know, you know. There's a few people in LawTube that like to do all their thinking and talking and texting in the shower. If you've heard these stories before, please forgive me. I try not to repeat myself. But I hope you appreciate that by writing down all these scintillating stories, I am depriving myself of much of my material in which to dazzle the crowd. I hope you appreciate it. But you bought the book, so I guess you deserve all I can give. I try not to repeat myself. Here's a family joke. A guy gets shipped off to prison. As he spends his first night in a cell, he hears someone call out, 16, and giggles resonate in response. Another man yells, 25, and more laughter. Our guy asks his cellmate, what's going on? People are calling out random numbers, and each number is met with laughter. I don't get it. The other inmate answered, well, you see, we have all been here so long that all the jokes we know have been told. So when we want to tell a joke, we just call out the number of that joke. Oh, okay, I get it. Our guy climbs into his bunk the next night, and the number calling begins. He builds up his courage and yells 33, but is met with silence. Puzzled, he turns to his cellmate, and the cellmate shrugs and says, "It was your delivery." Okay, back with the book. Meaning and purpose are literally a matter of survival. In the great book, Man's Searching for Meaning, Viktor Frankl explained the mind body connection. At the heart of Frankl's theory of meaning is a conviction that the primary human drive is not pleasure, as Freud maintained, but rather the discovery and pursuit of what the individual finds meaningful. Interesting. Meaning instead. Humans need to feel that their lives have meaning and purpose, and that they are making a positive impact on the world. This is a powerful insight that we all need to internalize and contemplate. Reread it if you did not get it. Humans need to feel that they are achieving their goals and progressing towards their dreams. This grows inside us as a sense of accomplishment. When my son was in middle school, he took up martial arts. He discovered that his martial arts organization held statewide martial arts contests during his training. Intrigued, he competed in the forms portion of the contest. The first time up, he did not know what to expect. He keenly observed the precision and enthusiasm of the other competitors. His preparation left much to be desired, and he took home a participation trophy. On the way home, he looked at the participation award and decided he wanted to get a real trophy. Over the next year, he worked on his forms. He entered the next contest and was again awarded the aforementioned participation trophy. Being the competitive guy that he was none too happy. The second competition was his gut check. His resolve solidified, and he became even more determined. The practice became ritualistic. His instructor, Mr. Smith, drilled him thrice weekly and once privately on a Saturday. By the time he entered the next competition, he was at his peak. I will never forget being in the grandstands as they were handing out the awards. They lined all the kids up in their uniforms. The participation trophies were handed out one by one, and the kids moved off the mat. My son was left with two others, with the top 3 trophies yet to be awarded. The bronze went to another child. My son was in the top 2. The instructors made the final 2 demonstrate their forms head to head. The judges huddled as the final 2 stood at attention. The head judge approached the 2 with the silver and gold trophy. I remember my son looking up at me in the stands when the judge handed him his competitor the silver. We jumped up and down, and I will never forget his simple, precious smile when he looked up at me. Earnership achieved. Maslow's term self-actualization can sum up all of these ideas. When these top needs are met, people feel fulfilled and satisfied with their lives. These are the things that motivate us to continue growing and developing as individuals. Self-actualization is our goal. But while some of the pyramid's levels suggest it, the unexpressed missing dimension in the Maslow hierarchy of needs is time. Time is dynamic, which means that every individual's needs change over time. For a coherent model of the individual, Maslow's hierarchy of needs must be applied to life over time. Okay, hang on here. Hi, Lexi. How you doing? Oh. Okay, where are we here? Okay, I'm still way back. Where is it? Oh. It's important. There we go. I got it. That That is the very happy, happy son with his gold. Oh shoot, what is it? With his trophy's the word. You can't tell because it's black and white, but as we just read, he got first place. He's got the gold trophy. Gotta love that. All right. Visualizing a free life over time. Adding the missing element of time to the Maslow pyramid. All life begins and ends, and human life is no different. We are born, live a life, and die. The biblical account of Adam and Eve leaving the Garden of Eden represents this consciousness of mortality. The awakening of consciousness from the tree of knowledge allowed us to contemplate our own death. Visualize a line. At the left end, where we begin, place a point. That's our birth. Then the line travels forward from left to right for a time. At the far right point is our death. So that way, pretty straightforward. Okay. When life begins is the topic of great debate. However, it should be uncontested that humans require a long time to mature into adults. From infants who are totally dependent on their parents for life, to preteens who must learn basic concepts of civilization, to teenagers who find their way into the world slowly and clumsily, parents hope that at some point our children ripen into mature adults. Like all symbolic representations, this idea is greatly simplified. But let us assume that during the adult period, we are conscious and choose our actions. Even this assumption is subject to the infinity of human vagaries. Some people never make it out of childhood. This may be due to mental infirmity or childhood trauma. Some people mature early. Many milestones mark adulthood. Death lies at the end of all human life. Sometimes death occurs suddenly. An infant could die in the cradle. A teenager could die on a motorcycle just as he's entering adulthood, and a woman could die after a complicated childbirth. Sometimes death comes after a long decline in old age. The mystery at the end of life perplexes mankind to this day, but must in the end be faced by each one of us. It is unknown to us, it is unknown to us all when our own death will come. Thus, to fix an endpoint on the line is a bit presumptuous. Therefore, perhaps it is better to visualize the line as proceeding from the beginning, which we know, towards the future, since time flows in one direction. Okay. So, this one. Okay. That's our view of our own life. The arc of life. So that's this one here. Picture a bell curve of consciousness in life, limited by birth and childhood on the front end, and senility, weakness, and death on the back end. In the center of the curve, above the line, is a period of maximum human attainment. Is it safe here? Hollowed Rose, is that math? Oh, never mind. No, it's not math. No maths. No real maths here. How you doing, Hollowed Rose? So, traveling along that bell curve is the individual, constrained by mortality and given a set of attributes and limitations by genetics and upbringing. But at some point, we hope that individuals can attain free will and choose a path forward for themselves. This is the area where we have disciplined ourselves sufficiently so that we control our actions. Some of us. This is the area where we choose who we are and what causes we serve. This is the area of the free individual, the place where we seek self actualization. You can throw it, Magic 8 Ball. You can toss Mein Kampf into my community page. I've got a post there where you can toss in whatever books, title, author. If it has to be a specific edition, you can let me know. I don't know. I think there probably was only the one edition of Mein Kampf, though, wasn't there? I mean, he allegedly died in a bunker, although we're finding out now that he lived for more than 20 years elsewhere. He had kids. But yeah, toss it on the list and I'll get to it. I may need to turn that one into a Rumble exclusive. But I was good. I only had one reading out of all the days that it took to read Behold a Pale Horse. I only had one of them that was struck. So, I mean, that's not bad. And that's on Rumble still. So, I think it was like chapter 9 or something like that. I can't remember. So, Hollowed Rose just dropping in to say, hey, it's still at work. Okay, yeah, turn me off. Go listen to Johnny or someone else. I don't want to be at fault for any accidents in the lab. Okay. Okay. So now, um, so this is what we were talking about. That one. So the darker space above the line, that is us in our peak, in our prime, being our free to be ourselves and make our own decisions. So this is the area where we have been where we have disciplined ourselves sufficiently so that we control our actions. This is the area where we choose who we are and what causes we serve. This is the area of the free individual, the place where we seek self-actualization. The headline of the news article proclaims the tragic death of Mr. X, filling in the name of some famous person who has passed away. This clickbait appeal comes from some psychological rubbernecking by the reader to examine death that descends on all of us at some point. How much time above the line can we expect? The average life expectancy in the United States for men is 73.2 years, and for women is 79.9 years. Given this statistic, when can the end of life be fairly labeled as tragic? Was the death of Pope John Paul II tragic? He lived a long, amazingly saintly, fulfilled life. What more can a human being aspire to? His accomplishments were enormous. His impact on the world was a force for good. What more could a human being ask for? I would not describe his life as anything but successful. My Aunt Evelyn, Evelyn Haleman, is the subject of a family book I wrote just for our family called Evelyn's Story. Aunt Evelyn lived a fantastic life. She married the love of her life, Louis Haleman, just before World War II. They raised 3 great children together. The two made their way through life with faith in God and commitment to each other. She was widowed after 65 years of successful marriage and love. Every day she woke up to ensure her family was together and included. On the day before she died, Evelyn called me from her own home in Bridgeport, New Jersey, where she lived since 1946. She was fully conscious and gave me her love, saying goodbye. Her family surrounded her, and she passed away the next day at 98 years old. Evelyn lived a successful life. A tragic life is one shortened by early death. A tragedy is a young elementary school student who drowns in a pond. Okay, so the top one is the young boy. I should make sure that you can see it. So this one here is the young boy who drowns in a pond. This next one here is the of a young father who is killed in a car accident. Steve says that is tragic. It's the lost potential that should be mourned. I know Yes fans may disagree with my lyrical interpretation of sun in replace of sun, so SON in replace of SUN. But I've always found Yes's song Soon from the album Relayer to be a Christian contemplation of our limited lives. What do you think? Soon, oh soon, the light pass within and soothe the endless night, and wait here for you, our reason to be here. Soon, oh soon, the time, all we move to gain will reach and calm. Our heart is open, our reason to be here, long ago set into rhyme. Soon, oh soon, the light, ours to shape for all time, ours the right. The sun will lead us, our reason to be here. Well, from my belief system, the sun SON does fit better than SUN. So that was the band Yes. The song was Soon, SOON, and the album name was Relayer, RELAYER. So if you would like to check that out, I will too. You folks may know that my friend Derek L. Brooks passed away very young in 2006, age 37. He left behind the treasure of his wife Alicia and daughter Anna. His passing affects me to this day. I can still hear his voice encouraging me to be better. His time with us was precious. He impacted so many lives. I get choked up whenever I talk about him, like I am now. It's because we want more that this sadness occurs. We mourn the extra bits of the curve that we will not see. A well-lived life should be celebrated. Damn it, Gosney. He's right. So this is a picture of his friend Derek holding his daughter. Oh, there. Holding his daughter. A new vision of the individual. The Maslow pyramid traveling along the curve of life. Combining these two ideas into one visual results in a Maslow pyramid traveling across the lifetime curve. Other way. I'll get my fingers out of the way. This image represents the hope that our life may be lived in maximum freedom. This is the best we can do. I remember the Gustav Stickley motto, "Alls I can." Okay, yeah, I'm assuming it's all I can. Or the best I can do with my abilities. Okay. Here's a little visual to help remember this concept. So that's your start and finish point. That's the arc of life. And in theory, you should be moving with the Maslow pyramid. Oops. You should be working through the Maslow pyramid throughout the arc of your life. The limitations of the individual. What are the limits of human life? Quite limited, actually. We live less than a century. Our childhood years are long and arduous. If we fully realize our hopes and grow into adulthood, we may have several decades of life to spend in our chosen direction. We may develop a career or raise a family, but every choice is itself a negation of an infinite realm of possibilities. For example, if you choose to go to law school, you are negating your choice to attend medical school and vice versa. By choosing to go to Washington and Lee, I decided against every other law school in existence. By choosing to vacation in Ireland, I choose against Iceland and every other location on Earth. We cannot do an infinity of things, and we cannot disobey physics. However, our brains have developed solutions to some human limitations. We cannot hold our breath for more than a few minutes, but we did create scuba gear. We cannot fly, but we did build airplanes. Even transcending these minor limitations, we are trapped on Earth, never to leave the solar system. The zone of individual choice is extremely limited. Even when fully conscious, we are always many steps away from reality. Our senses limit us. Touch, smell, sight, hearing, taste. Outside of these, we are at the mercy of technology. We know that a great deal of information passes by us undetected, but it is through these five senses that we understand and perceive everything around us daily. We are limited by the infinitely small and the infinitely large. Smallness goes beyond even the atomic into Planck lengths. All matter in the universe is made up of atoms. The diameter of an atom is approximately 0.0000000001 meters. There are 43 quintillion atoms in 1 grain of sand. So there are more grains of sand on the earth than atoms in 1 grain of sand by at least 3 orders of magnitude. The diameter of the atomic nucleus is about 100,000 times smaller. For a perspective about the relative size of the atomic nucleus to the atom itself, consider this. If the atomic nucleus were the size of a strawberry, the atom would be about the size of a stadium. The Planck length is, see my, it's a whole lot. 4, 8, 12, 15, 17. I think it's 30.3401 meters. So 34 zeros. That's a lot. It's tiny. This is 100 billion times smaller than a quark, which is itself a few 100,000 times smaller than an atom. Another way to visualize the size we are talking about. The Planck length is smaller than an atom by about the same ratio as an atom is smaller than the sun. What kind of world do we live in anyway? Think of the infinity of creation in the other direction, the very large. This concept always reminds me of the Monty Python skit in the movie The Meaning of Life. The Pythons sing, "Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour. That's orbiting at 19 miles a second, so it's reckoned, a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day in an outer spiral arm at 40,000 miles an hour of the galaxy we call the Milky Way. Our galaxy itself contains 100 billion stars. It's 100,000 light years side to side. It bulges in the middle, 16,000 light years thick, but out by us is just 3,000 light years wide. We're 30,000 light years from galactic central point. We go round every 200 billion years. And our galaxy is only one of millions of billions in this amazing and expanding universe. The universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all the directions it can whiz, as fast as it can go at the speed of light, 12 million miles a million, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth. And pray that there's intelligent life somewhere up in space, because there's bugger all down here on Earth. As Monty Python then quips, can we have your liver then? Our present location limits us. Our attention can focus only on one place and only at one time. We cannot simultaneously perceive any significant swath of reality in one go. This is the problem of embodiment. We exist within a physical body. Trapped in our bodies, we cannot perceive more than our immediate surroundings at any one time. When people are gathered at Times Square on New Year's Eve, they are entirely disconnected from the perspectives of those even in their immediate area, much less the wider city, state, country, or world. There are billions of people navigating the world within the small bubble of their area. No broad overmind takes in all these perceptions simultaneously. In this way, we are limited by our very existence as individuals. Our minds are limited in the ability to comprehend. This means we cannot perceive what is right in front of us. For example, if we stared at one single maple tree for an entire lifetime, we would never actually understand it. We may examine the bark, touch the leaves, and smell the sap, but have we fully understood the tree? To use a Robert Heinlein term from Stranger in a Strange Land, my favorite Heinlein book, and Heinlein is my favorite sci-fi author. Stranger in a Strange Land, brilliant book, but it gave birth to the word grok, which Elon Musk has since brought back into public use. But I don't know that everyone understands what grok means. We may examine the bark, touch the leaves, and smell the sap, but have we fully understood the tree? To use a Robert Heinlein term from Stranger in a Strange Land, do we fully grok the tree? Our brain's inner workings limit us, which reduces all things in our present environment into a symbol. Using the tree example, the best our mind can do is represent to our outer environment with symbology. We do not understand the tree before us, so we create a mental simulacrum, thank you, I think, with which our minds can work. It's like a fulcrum. Simulacrum, I think. Such simplification is necessary for us to operate in the world. We are not God. No, to grok is to fully understand and comprehend a thing. Like I will never fully grok God and his powers. I understand that he must exist. I've seen the proof of that. He must exist. But from my perspective, he is just as real to me as Alexander the Great. I know he is, just like I know Alexander the Great was. But that's about as far as I can get. I can't wrap my brain around. I can never really fully understand him until I meet him, right? It's the same with Alexander the Great. I can spit out facts about things he did in his life. I can describe what he looked like, but I will never know him. I will never understand him because I wasn't able to meet him, to get to know him. I'm getting to know God, so hopefully someday I will grok him. But to fully grok a thing is it's almost to absorb it and become it and to be it. It's that kind of fullness of understanding of knowledge. Maybe we'll read Stranger in a Strange Land. I should see if I'm gonna get in trouble for reading that book. I don't know if his estate would be okay with it or not, but I should see because I own all of his all of Highland's work. It's all paperback or mostly all paperback. And they're in totes, big, huge totes full of Heinlein books and McCaffrey books also. Um, but yeah, I should see if I could read those. That would be cool. So our brain's inner workings limit us, which reduces all things in our present environment into a symbol. Using the tree example, the best our mind can do is represent our outer environment with symbology. We do not understand the tree before us, so we create a mental simulacrum. Why do I stumble even after I've done it? With which our mind can work. Such simplification is necessary for us to operate in the world. We are not God and cannot hold in our heads everything that passes in front of us. This simplification is an after effect of our brain's limited capacity. I mean, come on. What do you expect of an organ that is less than the size of a football? Communication between individuals is limited by words, which further reduces what we symbolically perceive to an even more abstract symbol. Here's an exercise. Think about a car. You got it in your mind? Now I have a car in my head. Do you think they look alike? My car is green. What color was yours? Blue. My car was a four-door. So was mine. Mine had a scratch on the back bumper. Did yours? Yes, many. As we add levels of detail, the specificity becomes clearer. But we can never, and I mean never, fully communicate with words what is actually present in front of us, because there will be details that we have not described yet are present. The details we enunciate are value judgments directed to what we individually deem important. We are, in fact, viewing the world through a tiny keyhole of individual perception. As a lawyer practicing criminal law, the human perception limitation is a significant contributing factor to domestic murder. What do I mean? People kill family members at very high rates. Why not just walk away? Because at the time of a domestic incident, the whole world seems to be wrapped up in the problem confronting the person right in front of us. Because our time and attention are invested in one person, the passions that person can stimulate are orders of magnitude greater than a stranger could ever generate. Billions of people populate the world. Why is that one person in front of you so significant? It's because of our limited perspective and the fact that time and attention are of great value when our lives are limited. Some may counter that technology has somehow impacted this statement. But even if our computers perceive everything, our human mind cannot take in more than what is immediately in front of it. Our focus and concentration are built-in human limitations. We are limited by time and mortality. Time flows forward, leading inevitably to death. We cannot go back in time to correct actions in our past. We have limited time on earth to accomplish what our will expects. Further, the flow of time is measured by our limited human perceptions. Our lives become much shorter when measured against 10,000 years of recorded human history. Compared to the million or so years of human history, it's a snap. Placing our lives in the context of geologic history, we are but a blip in time. Now understand that the universe itself is approximately 13,700,000,000 years old. Our grandiose self-worth rebels against any statement of limitations. I remember speaking with a new assistant public defender. She had it all. She was 28 years old, an honors student, tall, beautiful, smart, and telegenic. You know who you are. I know who he's talking about. But when I posited that she would never become a pro football player, she responded with an instinctual disagreement. How dare I place limitations on her? Humility would seem to be the operative response to our existence. Smarts are wonderful, but there is a cost to high intellect, arrogance. Hello, late night ramblings. How you doing? Lexi wants time travel superpowers. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Time travel sounds like fun, but there's just so much to complicate it. You know, accidentally seeing yourself, see yourself. Just the paradoxes that would be built. I'd mess it up. I couldn't be trusted with time travel superpowers. I couldn't be trusted with it. I'd screw it all up. Humility would seem to be the operative response to our existence. Smarts are wonderful, but there is a cost to high intellect, arrogance. Humility opens you up to the wisdom all around you. As we have discussed, our perspectives are limited to our own zone. However, there is room for individual human action within this narrow band. As discussed later, even our limited time on Earth is constrained by varying levels of self discipline and consciousness. As children, and often in old age, we have no real ability to exist as free individuals. We are dependent on our parents and caregivers. We are simply not completely free in a state below that curve. So what? Where are we going with this? Yeah, great, Gosney. So what? Can this model be applied in law? First of all, give me a break. I am just one guy. I do not have all the answers. I just need to step forward with insight. I know that the rights based model described earlier will lead to a loss of individual freedom and eventually end in slavery and tyranny. How the Maslow pyramid over time model could be applied in legal context is up in the air and perhaps the subject for future research and thought. But we can use the model for ourselves to map out our life plans. Additionally, we can use this model to recognize threats to our individual freedom in the wider world. It is to this that we will devote the rest of the book. The individual within a group. A corporation is a modern innovation of individuals associating in groups. A corporation is considered under the law as an artificial person. Other such associations are partnerships, associations, unions, etc. Ultimately, these are all artificial legal entities that associate individuals with one another for a common purpose. The strength of association lies in gaining the benefits of differing experiences, talents, and perspectives to make better decisions and to cover weaknesses inherent in everyone. A well maintained group should make better decisions together. A corporation cannot vote. However, a corporation may own land. Controversially, a corporation can speak freely in the marketplace of ideas, but even the court has recognized a diminished value of commercial speech when set against political speech. However, the corporation is not essential compared to the individual and must be seen correctly as completely a human creation. Government is a more coercive form of group association. While corporations and partnerships are voluntary, submission to government is mandatory. The power of government flows from the barrel of a gun. This coercive nature is extremely attractive to the power hungry and thus dangerous to the individual's liberty. It is from coercive power that the individual must fear for his freedom. The freedom of the individual must be protected against the group. Under the original conception of a republic, the Constitution protects liberty, and the government is also charged with preserving that liberty against group action. The problem is that there is no mechanism to enforce this call. When the government becomes populated by individuals who no longer believe in or understand these founding precepts, the government gravitates towards tyranny. A significant error in pure originalism is that it betrays the expansive nature of individual freedom conceived by the founders. The challenges to liberty come from the weaponization of all levers of society against individual citizens' ability to think and speak independently. The internet and groupthink ideologies have amplified the use of coercive social pressures to constrain individual freedom. Whether one is coerced by the threat of imprisonment or the threat of corporate censorship makes no difference from the perspective of the individual. Each curtails freedom. It is enlightening to compare our enumerated rights with those of tyrannical societies. A tyrannical government may have the trappings of a free society, yet the reality for the individual is profoundly different. It has been noted that the USSR had an extremely progressive and rights-laden constitution. Yet to live in the USSR was to be a slave to the state's whim. Solving the puzzle. The emphasis on rights has it backwards. It assumes that the state or other group associations can fill the space not occupied by individual rights. This is precisely the problem that the opponents of the written Bill of Rights feared. That by enumerating certain rights, anything not enumerated would not exist. Many conservatives have countered that there should have been a corresponding Bill of Responsibilities passed along with the Bill of Rights. However, any enumeration would suffer the same problems as outlined here. The actual lens through which the Constitution was designed was that of delegated powers. In a system of delegated powers, the people retain any powers not specifically authorized by the government. The goal was to maximize the freedom of the individual. Therefore, the concept of the free citizen is the original conception that needs to be rediscovered and reincorporated into constitutional jurisprudence. What does a free citizen in a free society look like? And how does this contrast with an individual in a non-free society? In a free society, individuals are free to choose to do good. In a non-free society or a tyranny, individuals are forced to do evil. Complicity in falsity fuels tyranny and destroys the souls of the participants in the system. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I brutally massacred that name. My bad. Here, just in case. Oh, damn it. He. See? When the hands don't work. There. And paste. There you go. So that guy with that name, Alexander, described it this way. We know they are lying. They know they are lying. They know we know they are lying. We know they know we know they are lying. But they are still lying. Alexander posited that communist society was held up by lies, not just made to others, but also told to ourselves. We must not live by lies. The concept of the individual is at once simple and fundamentally complex. Obviously, an individual is a single human being. But what makes up this individual that our founding fathers have deemed sovereign? The biological definition alone, while necessary, is insufficient and limiting when discussing the relationship of individuals with the state and when placed in the sovereign position. An individual person also exists in a place and time and will exist into the future and has existed in the past. An individual life also has a beginning, a middle, which could be further subdivided into the bell curve of unconscious and conscious life, and an end. Thus, an individual spans time, and this time is forward flowing. We cannot undo mistakes. This is why we need to be very careful with our choices as we become locked in a course of action by those decisions. Author and theologian, theologian. Why? Why am I having troubles with simple words? C.S. Lewis, in The Abolition of Man, defined the scope of an individual as having three levels within his essential nature: physical, spiritual, and intellectual. For the complete individual, each division must be properly placed and addressed, each contained within the gut, the chest, and the head, respectively. Psychologist A.H. Maslow defined human existence as a hierarchy of needs. Maslow defined physical needs as air, water, food, sexual intercourse, sleep, clothing, and shelter. Human safety needs include health, personal security, emotional security, and financial security. Social belonging needs included family, friendship, intimacy, trust, acceptance, and the receiving and giving of love and affection. At the top of the hierarchy was esteem, and finally, self-actualization. Each of these conceptions requires that the state provide a zone of individual autonomy. Under the Madisonian idea, free men should be allowed to thrive under freedom and should not be subject to arbitrary state power. Tyranny is excessive and unnecessary state intrusions into this zone of liberty. Thinking requires speech. The pursuit of truth is excitingly complex and requires constant interaction with others. Ideas can be worked out through the interplay in the marketplace of ideas. We can discern a way forward through the collaboration of all thoughts. The discussion of ideas also allows for course correction over time. An idea that may serve a purpose at one point may shift. Only through ongoing debate and discussion can a free society correct itself. This is a fundamental weakness of unfree societies. A leader may rise in an unfree society, offering a way forward for the group. He may at once be successful. However, the entrenchment of that leader over time does not allow for changing circumstances. A healthy left is required for the free society to reinvent itself and redirect the populace if a better path presents itself. This force for creative destruction also checks on the corruption of systems over time. An unhealthy left simply destroys institutions for destruction's sake. We see a lot of that in our society at present. Groups desire destruction without any coherence about what follows. Quoting Tom Wolfe in his essay Radical Chic, "You can't blueprint the future," says Cox. "You mean you're just going to wing it?" says Lenny. "There ain't no blueprint, man." Marxist thought emphasizes that everything is political. This is being played out daily through threats against each level of our Maslow pyramid. Let's view the hierarchy from the position of tyranny. Most people understand that tyrants threaten a person's life to maintain power. The fear of life loss often compels compliance with the tyrant. But this is the roughest and most base form of tyranny. Tyranny can also take the form of threats to higher levels in the hierarchy. This has been referred to as soft tyranny. For example, one's property can be threatened with confiscation. Excessive fines can be imposed by agencies against political opponents. Selective enforcement of both criminal and civil laws represents a soft form of tyranny. Lois Lerner's IRS is but one example. We are seeing the rise of such tyranny at ever higher levels of the pyramid. For example, cancel culture threatens individual people who are not in compliance with the group, resulting in loss of employment. Even more subtly, a person may be rejected from friendships because they may not agree with the group. Many people in our society report disruptions within the family, the core of civilization, over political disagreements. The threat to respect, status, or recognition is even further up the hierarchy. Religious shunning is an indicator of a cult. When ideas get shunned within university departments, the individual is minimized. When scholars disagree with the chosen narrative of the tyrant, they are denied promotion or fired. Individuality is threatened. When students disagree with the dominant orthodoxy within the university, they are subject to shunning or worse. All these indirect threats diminish individual freedom in favor of group thinking, which is tantamount to no thinking. Hello, Johnny. How you doing? Are you done early? You better not be skipping your stream there. I'll be there soon. All these indirect threats diminish individual freedom in favor of group thinking, which is tantamount to no thinking. All these threats to the free individual arise from a totalitarian mindset. Should they succeed, we will lose our individual freedom. To counter this, a clear picture of a free person needs to be defined within our own minds. Individual freedom should be held against these base human tendencies of control. The individual must be given a wide swath by which they can pursue their own concept of liberty. Part 2, the bottom of the pyramid. Well, I'll tell you what. We're rolling into part 2. If I remember correctly, yes, we're totally taking a change. You know what? Not at all because Johnny popped in, but because it's a natural place to pause in our reading. I'm going to call it a day for this stream. We can start part 2, the bottom of the pyramid. We'll start next Thursday morning. I'm going to go over and hang out with Johnny and his folks here. Me at oh, no space. There. That's where I will be as soon as I get out of here. Also, I will be streaming again at 4 p.m. my time, which is 3 hours and 15 minutes from now. We'll be doing our usual chat with chat. So be prepared for that. Oh, I opened and closed things. Here we go. Here's a link to the actual stream right there and right there, because I don't know how to raid anyone. I haven't figured that out yet. I've allowed people to raid me, but I don't know how to do it. So that's where I will be once I finish this out. If you guys want to join me over there, we just shoot the shit about news things. Otherwise, like I said, in 3 hours and 15 minutes exactly, I will be back here chatting with you guys in chat about whatever you feel you want to speak on. So, yeah, I'll see you in a few hours. Have a good one.
Topics change from day to day. Science, art, or history's play. No path too twisted, no trail too thin. She dives right in where to begin. After anything, nothing's too obscure. She'll dig and dig a spirit so pure. Every question finds its gleam.